Hi. Today I am going to explain a year 2006 mystery and thriller film called Death Note. Film opens with a view of Japan, where we are shown a man who was a criminal and he was running from the police. Suddenly, he suffers a heart attack, and he dies. Later, we are shown big criminals who haven't punished yet, and all other prisoners in the jail dies from heart attacks. These deaths weren't natural, but a boy named Light was behind this. Once, he found an unordinary book named Death Note. Whose name will be written on it, he'll die. He'll die according to the method written in that book. This book can control people. As Light got this book, he kept writing the criminals' names to end badness. The whole world gets scared due to the sudden deaths. Criminals were also very scared, and the government was astonished, and some people were calling it a punishment from God for bad people. Some people were calling it coincidence. After killing bad people, city's people named him Kira. Some people were considering Kira their hero. This news went viral in Tokyo. Then we see a criminal on live news. He imprisoned a family, and everyone was watching this news, including Light. He held that Death Note book in his hand at that time. After some time, the news is shown that the criminal died. Later, Kira is shown as a student of law. He had a best friend named Misa. In college, Light tells Misa that once he went to a bar, and there were also criminals, killers, and thieves. And Light hears the criminals, who were happy because they weren't punished. Later, they misbehave with Light, but Light couldn't do anything against them. And he comes out of the bar and throws his law book. He thinks this book is spare and of no use to him, because in spite of having this book, he is unable to give justice to anyone. But his life changes when he found Death Note. He found this on ground. Surprisingly, everywhere was raining, except on this book. Then, Light brings that book home. He was telling everything to Misa, except about that book. When Light found this book, he didn't know anything about it. Then, he reads its rules. According to rules, that person will die, whose name will be written on it. The method of death was mentioned on it. Then Light watches the news about a criminal. To check that book, he writes his name on it. And the night passes, and we sees Light the next morning. He was reading a newspaper. The criminal whose name he wrote last night has died. Seeing it, he was amazed. Still, he wasn't believing in book, and he wants to check it again. At night, he goes to the bar, where a criminal misbehaved with him. Now, Light writes that criminal's name in Death Note. In the meantime, that criminal dies with a heart attack. He dies in front of Light. Seeing this, Light was amazed. Now, Light witnessed everything, and he started believing in Death Note. When Light was going back to home, he sees the previous owner of the Death Note, a Shinigami named Ryuk. Ryuk was so scary to see. Light gets scared of him. Ryuk tells him that only the beholder of this book can see him. Ryuk explains everything to Light. Then we see some police officers. They were talking about those deaths. They noticed that only criminals are dying from heart attack. They were thinking about Kira, what he wants, or if he exists, or not. Kira isn't a hero but a criminal. What was happening was a crime. Then we sees Light's father. He was a detective and dealing with this case. He wanted to approach Kira. Because Kira wasn't in someone's control, he kept killing everyone. He'll kill everyone doing this. Light's father tells his senior that this case is quite difficult. An intelligent detective will help us to deal with this case. And he is L. He will only talk to them on the internet. And no one knew the real name of L, and no one ever saw his face. He already investigated much about Kira. He was succeeded in it. No one believed about Kira, but L told people that these aren't natural deaths. Many criminals died this year. Most of the criminals died from heart attack. Criminals who died with a heart attack were medically normal. Now, we sees Light, and he had Death Note for a long time. And Ryuk and Light are now friends. Light says that he'll change the world by killing the criminals. The world will be free of crimes if they die. Then we sees in the news that L revealed his face. He was discussing Kira. That Kira isn't a hero but a killer. And we'll catch him soon. To stop L, and to let people know that no one can defeat Kira, he writes L's name in Death Note. Suddenly, L on the television suffers a heart attack, and he dies. Everyone was shocked, and Light was happy seeing this. In the meanwhile, Light was shocked when he acknowledges that he wasn't the real L. Then we see the real L talking on the television without showing his face. He says, "Kira, I am the real L. This transmission was aired only in Tokyo, so it's confirmed you are from Tokyo. He says that you can only kill that person whose name and face you know. Light was so worried because he thought no one can catch him. He was worried because L is here against him. Light didn't know his name and had never seen his face. L says, I am a justice provider, and Kira is a killer. Therefore, I'll punish Kira. Ryuk couldn't help Light because he can only be seen by him, but he doesn't support anyone. Then we see that L takes out the data of these deaths. He acknowledges that these deaths happen after the off of schools and colleges. That means Kira is a college student. Light could access data of his father, so he was being suspected. After everyone knew that he kills people after college time, so Kira started killing people in his study time too. L says that he is certainly a student and he is trying to distract us by killing people in school timings. L finds that Kira has access to the police database. Therefore, L tells his father that he can have access to the database. L says, Kira must be a police officer, or our closer one. After some days, Light realizes that the police are having an eye on him. Some detective are behind him. And Light wanted to get rid of L. Ryuk says, I know everything about a person's name, and how many years are left behind in his life. Then Light asks him about L's real name. In return, Ryuk asks for half of his life. But Light clearly refuses. The agent who was behind Light plans something to get rid of him. Next morning, Light and Misa goes to a bus stop, and that agent comes there too. Then Light asks that agent, why are you following me? To which, that agent doesn't reply. Then a criminal comes in that bus. He points a gun at the bus's driver. Light had written a note there. That he'll grab you so snatch his gun. But suddenly that note falls off Light's hand. And the criminal holds the paper seeing it. Then he sees Ryuk because he hold that death note. And he shoots Ryuk many times. But nothing happens to him. Seeing it, he gets scared and turns away by stopping the bus. But a car hits that criminal and that makes him die. Everything was done according to Light's plan because he wanted to know the name of this agent. Then Light says to that agent not to chase him anymore. Then we see that agent with his wife. As Light was so intelligent, he played a trick to get rid of these agents. He couldn't kill L, so he wants to kill those people who are hired by L. Therefore, he starts the series of killing with that agent. Light asks everyone's name from that agent. Agents who were a part of this mission. But in a short time, that agent dies. That death was caused by a heart attack. Because Light didn't want him to live, so he wrote death for him. Here the question arises, if Kira is a hero, then why he's killing good people? After it, all agents got killed one by one. All the police officers were scared due to this. They were thinking that they'll be killed by Kira someday, like others. They leaves this case unsolved, and leaves from headquarters. As they had no choice left, they ask L to meet him. Then all the police officers goes to meet L. Here we see L, for the very first time. He was so young and looking like a kid. He wasn't looking like an agent. Then we see that agent's wife was also doing an inquiry on his husband's death. She meets Misa. Misa makes her meet with Light. As she sees Light, she recognizes him and says, you can't harm me. Because you don't know my real name. Saying this, she leaves. Hearing this, Misa was confused, and Light was afraid that his secret was getting revealed to everyone. Then we see L fixing cameras in Light's room. When Light gets to know about this, he doesn't do anything to don't give them a chance of suspicion. He reacts as if he doesn't know anything and everything's normal. Then news about a criminal breaks on the television. On the other hand, everyone was watching over Light that he'll do something. That criminal gets killed, even Light didn't see him on the TV. Due to this, everyone except L clears their suspect about Light. We sees that Light was secretly doing his work. It means he is still killing people. After this, all the cameras are removed from Light's room. It seemed as everything has become normal. But that agent's wife was still investigating the case. She calls L and says, I am taking a risk on my life. But I'll prove that Light is Kira. She then threatens Misa to call Light and invite him to meet somewhere. When Light arrives, he sees that agent's wife pointed a gun at Misa. She wanted Light to confess that he's Kira. But he refuses to accept. Availing the chance, Misa runs away. Then that agent's wife starts shooting Light. But the bullet mistakenly hits Misa. Misa dies on the spot. Afterward, that agent's wife kills herself. What was happening there was being recorded. Police also come there after this. Then we see that Light and Ryuk are talking. Light tells him that what was happened earlier was a part of my plan. As the book's owner can control the situation, so I already wrote everything in that book. He killed his love once too. Now, Light says to his father that he'll help him and all the police officers to catch Kira. Light was doing this so that no one suspects him and his secret will not be revealed, and he'll keep doing his work. In the last, he meets Elle face to face. To watch more videos like this, subscribe, turn on notification, and leave a like. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.